You. No, not you. You. The one writing the comment. The one who started writing the comment before the video even started. Stop, put that on ice, maybe watch the video first, okay? Let me just warn you, if you think this video is about you, right, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I don't do any of those things, then the video's not about you, okay? If you don't think the video should apply to you, don't behave as if it does, because I know some people are going to do that because that's what people do. So just remember, this is about a subset of a subset, and there's a chance you're not in it. It's just that that subset of a subset is a really horrible pit of fuck, and it deserves what's coming next. So let's all see what's coming next together, shall we? There's this movie called The Signal. No, not the movie everybody's thinking of when I say The Signal. A different one, less famous one. It was out in 2007. It's a movie in 3 parts about an inaudible, well, signal that drives people into a murderous frenzy, creating chaos and violence among all who are exposed to it. When I think of No Man's Sky, the allegedly ambitious crafting survival thing that Hello Games finally released a matter of days ago, The Signal comes to mind. It's about the only explanation I have for the fury, the obsession, the wanton psychological anarchy that it seems to inspire. I can only believe the studio behind No Man's Sky, since its announcement in 2013, has been sending out some sort of subtle radio wave that burrows into people's minds and turns them into compulsive fucking weirdos. And I don't get it. I mean, I never got it before launch. I certainly don't get it now that I've played it and discovered it's another survival game with all the meter management, resource collectathoning, and incessant inventory fiddling that has come to typify the genre. On a bigger scale, most certainly, but that just adds to the boredom, if anything. After my first few hours with the game, I could only think, this? Really? This is what had subreddits in arms and the internet frenzied all these years? So much angst, so much drama, for this? But anyway, this isn't about No Man's Sky exactly, nor is it even about that game's fanbase, for indeed the game has multitudes of admirers and I'm not one to judge them. You like what you like, you do you, and if you spent $60 on any video game, I only wish you the best and hope you feel you got what you paid for. Nah, this is all about a particular subset of No Man's Sky's impassioned fanbase, the true zealots, the hardcore freaks who have sunk their very identities into this game, whose emotions were as gas-soaked kindling near a lit flame whenever a mere mention of this game came up. To differentiate them from your average, normal No Man's Sky fan, I shall label them No Man Boys, for indeed they have behaved as screaming piss boys for months on end and deserve to be scorned as such. This doesn't include your average NMS subreddit poster or lover of the game, but a whole other breed of religiously loyal attack dog, ones that have marred the community as a whole by trading in death threats, harassment, and an endless cavalcade of pathetic, undignified, infantile tantrums that have reflected incredibly poorly on the No Man's Sky community as a whole, to the point where No Man's Sky fans has itself become an unfairly maligned label. No Man Boys have quickly become perhaps the worst fanbase subset I've ever seen, and that's in a world where Sonic communities exist. The personal hopes and dreams they invested into this game manifested in truly horrifying ways, to the point where average, everyday issues that affect the development cycle of any game were twisted into earth-shattering events and used as justification for fucking awful behaviour. The biggest example of this behaviour came with the second release date delay for the game. The first time No Man's Sky was delayed, there wasn't much of an issue, people seemed to accept it largely. The second time, however, oh fucking boy. It was Jason Schreier of Kotaku who broke the news, revealing via sources that No Man's Sky would miss its June 2016 release date and be pushed back 2 months to August. The immediate response among the No Man Boys was to label Jason a liar, which was fucking amazing in and of itself. Yes, make up a fairly inconsequential 2-month delay that the studio could have easily refuted within minutes. I can't think of a pettier, more pointless idea outside of a Konami board meeting. But then the No Man Boys decided to step things up a bit and begun to issue death threats to the reporter. In a truly baffling display of shooting the messenger, Schreier was harassed and threatened not for celebrating, not for even causing, but for merely reporting on a game's delay. Shortly afterward, Hello Games would confirm Kotaku's report, revealing that yes, No Man's Sky would launch in August, and what do you think the No Man Boys did? Do you think they apologised to Jason and decided that 2 months wasn't gonna destroy them? Nah, mate, nah. They just transferred the death threats from Jason to No Man's Sky director Sean Murray, because that makes fucking sense. That makes games come out quicker. That makes you look like someone worth listening to. Death threats aren't just for reporters and developers. Customers, too, can just as easily be targeted, like this person on the NMS subreddit who gave a detailed, fairly written, non-antagonistic appraisal of the game and explained in an honest way why they'd personally be returning it. This innocuous post was enough for the Redditor to be sent scads of insults, anger, and of course, threats of death. Death threats. Fucking death threats all the goddamn time. Abusive and unoriginal. What a winning combination. The gibbering irrationality of this fanbase subset would only continue to take a spotlight in the months following. Any bit of news about the game was descended upon and torn apart, like that girl in that bit of Interview with a Vampire where all the shitty little vampires who weren't Antonio Banderas ate her all up. That's another good name for these sorts of fans, actually. Shitty little vampires. Wah, No Man's Sky's only 30 hours long because a guy on Reddit said so. The game's only 6 gigabytes big. It's gonna take 1 patch. It's not like talking or even criticising some of the issues with the game was bad. Discuss the day 1 patch. Discuss its file size. There's stuff you can talk about there, but it was the fucking way every single issue was turned into a fucking hysterical panic parade that made the rest of us shake our fucking heads in disgusted bemusement. And this went both ways too. You got your people who have invested so much into the game being the biggest, most perfectest game ever, and the people who have invested so much into the game being the shittest, most overratedest flop ever. Every game has its zealots and its crusading detractors, taking their impassioned emotional stakes in video games to embarrassing extremes, but No Man's Sky is a whole nother level, a new high for extremism among fan bases. Oh, and this is before we get to that bit where I had the unfortunate honour of publishing the game's first big review, a critical review that called the game boring, because that's what I think it is, and the response from the No Man boys was to fucking DDoS my website and bring it offline for a day. Yeah, that happened. I had the sheer shitting gall to say I thought No Man's Sky was mediocre. Not even shit, just pedestrian, and the Jimquisition.com was taken down by some script kiddie dildos who thought the only rational response was to try and stop the world from seeing the review. A review on a site with no ad revenue, so it didn't matter to me that everybody could still read the fucking thing via Google Cache. Smooth move, dicks for eyes. You sure fucking showed me. The DDoSing was enough to demonstrate to me that No Man's Sky's zealots are truly the fucking worst. I mean, I've had threats over reviews before. I've had people wanting to see me get fired from websites for giving out scores they didn't like. I've had the odd handful of creeps who won't let go of some critique as if it were a personal insult and held onto that grudge for years, but this? Nah, never had someone gone to those lengths to silence me over a review. That's the kind of behaviour I've come to expect when I talk about social issues and stir up that shit hive of shit bees. But a fucking video game review? As in a review of a video game? Jesus fucking Christ. Months of angst, of whipping each other up into a frothy mob, death threats, attempting to censor criticisms you don't like, and all of this without anybody saying anything vaguely feministy. For one single video game, I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it when people do it for the other reasons too, but there's just something extra puzzling to me when it's revolving around just another procedurally generated survival crafting game. I guess one thing's for sure, I must have been right about the game being boring if its most passionate fan children are still here, on the internet, complaining about other people's opinions. I mean, for a game so purportedly encapsulating with endless playability, these fucks sure do still seem to have plenty of spare time to whine on social media. I mean, look at this jackass. Why aren't you playing it? Why aren't all of you antisocial malcontents playing your fucking Sporecraft game that you were so mad about waiting an extra 2 months for? It's out now. It's yours. Play it. Enjoy it for the love of God. Have some fucking fun for once in your pallid, banal, unoriginal, weak, rudderless, moth-eaten, ignoble, platitudinous, dishwater lives. I mean, can you all just settle your shit for like 5 minutes? Is that even possible anymore? Can you chill the dick out even a moment and pull your fried brains out of your unremarkable arses? And before anybody points out, I realise this isn't helping, but we're way past the point of fucking compromise now. You'll need to be told. You're fucking pitiful. And this is what you sound like. And fuck the hype culture that led to your existence too. I don't for a second want to let the AAA game industry off the hook for this bullshit. The companies that profit off turning their customers into not just fans, but goddamn evangelists, knowingly and manipulatively. I'm not even explicitly talking about Sony or Halo Games here. If anything, No Man's Sky is just as much a victim of hype culture as anything else. The PR world is a world of calls to action, of making unreasonable promises now and damning the fallout later, of actively seeding and growing this level of unrealistic expectation and never having the fucking spine to call out the resulting horde of unhinged abusive creeps they helped to breed. No, you may not have actively created humans so fucking empty that your products are what they cling to and fight rabidly for, but you certainly made an environment where they feel okay being the fucking worst. And then there's the media, sponging off that hype culture in its never-ending search for hot takes, caught in a feedback loop with its audience where hype leads to hype mongering that leads to more hype. Interviewers and previewers and newsies making rods for their own backs by unquestioningly repeating promises and swallowing corporate lines without a hint of skepticism, and setting themselves up for a fall when the game comes out and the reviews are inevitably eviscerated because they're either shilling because they're too positive or they're clickbait because they're too negative, torn apart by a dumbfounded and delirious video game cult whose empty souls have fed to bursting point off a decadent and excessive diet of diseased publicity. And somewhere along the line, Forbes will do an article saying critics are out of touch or something, and that'll keep things going for a little while, but it'll have petered out by then and we'd have all forgotten it in about a month or two, and then none of it will have really mattered in the long run, at least until the next big AAA game comes along with its huge batch of hype and this whole sorry, miserable affair begins all over again. Just goddamn it, goddamn you all, you terrible bunch of fucking loads. Like I say though, most of you, you're okay. You know, I'm hardly the first to mention this, but there is a poetic irony that bears repeating, that No Man's Sky is praised for its meditative qualities, its soothing, calming traits, and yet its most ardent, most hardcore, most crusading fans are so angry, vitriolic, agitated, swarming like furious hornets. Please keep playing the game. Play it forever. Keep away from everybody else. Play it until you've calmed down, please. Or, I know, knock one out, come to something with someone on your own, don't matter to me. Play squash, eat cereal, do whatever it does to get you to just chill out. It's what you need, just a little bit of chill time. Find religion, maybe. You know, even if you don't believe in God, you know, maybe find a God proxy here on Earth. Just someone or something to worship. I don't know, like, if just pulling names out me ass, me maybe. Put your faith in me if you're angry about No Man's Sky. If you think some jackass was out of line for giving No Man's Sky a 5 out of 10 and calling it mediocre, well, why not put your faith in me? And worship me as a proxy god on Earth. That might help. That might soothe your ailing heart. Or at least do what millions of Americans do across the nation. And thank God for me. Put my sleeve on the corner of the lectern and... yeah, not a problem.
Over here, I'm a boglin. Me and my buddies need a place to hide out.
Hello and welcome to Boglin Watch 2016, because this is a new thing I've decided to do. Boglin Watch 2016 is all of the hottest Boglin-based news, mostly just Boglin shit that I've been buying and need to justify buying somehow. It's a bit like Fuck Konami News, except Boglins are far more relevant in the year 2016 than Konami is. This week we have actual news though, because Boglins are coming back, and it's not one of those cynical relaunch deals either. This is the original co-creator of Boglins, Tim Klug, working with Clutter Toys to make a new tribe of mini Boglins. Mini Boglins is something we'll talk about specifically in an upcoming Boglin Watch. Stay tuned for that. I I know you're all excited. But the new tribe of mini boglins that Clark is working on is the zombie tribe, which in this day and age, I guess that's the most obvious thing you could go with. Here's some prototype models now. There's one prototype zombie boglin. There's another prototype zombie boglin. They look very much in keeping with the original mini 90s collectibles like what they had back then. And here's some concept art showing a bunch of them. I hope that one with the pumpkin for a head is a genuine one, because pumpkins are cool and I want it. Also, this is a king boglin. That's a new thing they're doing as well. Apparently that was a sculptor, a test they did a long time ago, and like with the original line in the 90s, and it never went anywhere. They never made it. So with the relaunch of the mini boglins, the king boglin is coming out with them as well. That's the king of the mini boglins. He's got cushions and a big ball. So boglins. Stay tuned in the future where I will be talking about my boglins, like what I've got that are really cool. And this isn't really relevant to games, but if Polygon can keep doing Game of Thrones recaps, then I can do this. All right, I can do what I want.